up, family? Welcome back to the Success Story. Penny here. And the season of gaming is almost upon us. There's a lot of new games that are coming out in the fall, and this is where basically a lot of big hits or miss come out. I'm really excited for games like Deathloop, Psychonauts 2 comes out this month. The Guardians of the Galaxy game I'm really interested in. The Black Panther expansion for the Avengers game come out. I might actually go back to Avengers just to try it out. I'm actually really excited to get into all these new games and give you ideas and maybe reviews and stuff that you should go on. But that also means that one series in particular comes out annually around the time of the fall, and it's NBA 2K. Now, I gave up on next gen for NBA 2K21. I could not play it. It was not fun. Did not cater to what I had fun with in the other 2Ks. It basically destroyed what I like doing and gave my ability to players and builds that were already overpowered. And it made the game kind of repetitive and boring. Now, because of all of this, I decided that since the game is coming out, I'll make a little series about 2K related videos for a bit. And I'm thinking of calling them Season of Sorrow, and where I make a new 2K video every once in a while to talk about 2K and what I'm hoping for the next one, and eventually start making it till I get the game, and I can give you my day one reaction, a week one reaction, and a couple months in the game, and I can really tell you what I feel about next gen 2K. Now, before we get started, I wanted to do a really simple video. Now, a couple days ago, I watched an Agent Zero video, and he did a Spectrum video. I know you guys seen these before, where people ask questions and they move left or right to agree or not to agree. There are spots in the middle to talk about things like, do you kind of agree, your reason for this, and it's very interesting to see people's point of views and thoughts on the matter. Now, I do most of my videos on this chair, so I won't be moving left or right, but I decided that I'll take the questions that was asked and I'll give you my ideas and thoughts about them. I'm not into the community like most people are. I don't really have like a big voice or anything. I'm just a normal player like most of you. And so I thought I'd give my 2 cents about what I think about these things. Now, let's get started with the questions.
Was NBA 2K21 the worst 2K?
I don't know. See, a lot of people like to go back to like 2K18 was the worst 2K. I personally think that 17 is bad as well, just as bad. But a lot of people had fun playing 17. It was a little glitchy and you could do whatever you want, but a lot of people did have fun playing 17. 18 was really boring and very repetitive. Hence why I think 18 and next gen 2K21 are the same thing in my idea. I feel the same energy that I got from 18, I feel it for 21. I feel it's repetitive, I feel like it's boring, I feel like I see the same thing over and over and over again, and I just could never really get into it. However, I will say if I had to pick one, it would be 18, then 21.
Are the NBA developers the problem?
I don't think the NBA 2K developers are the problem. Here's the thing. It's very hard to cater to a fan base when there's a lot of mixed ideas. NBA 2K is popular because of its multiplayer aspects. However, the things people want and the things that it can be done or the things that would sell well are very mixed. It's not like, say, like Warzone or Fortnite, where people would like new skins or people would like certain guns to be buffed and nerfed, and after a while that can be done. See, the problem with the community is it doesn't seem like it knows what it wants. Some people want a really arcadey, more, game. Some people really want more of a sim game. Some people want to make like demigods, like everyone should be able to do everything. Some people want a more balanced, realistic sense of team. It's very up in the air. And what ends up happening is that sometimes the developers will do something that the community wants, and then it turns out to be a flop, and it's like, oh, why would you do that? I think the developers should try to just make a game that they think is 100% them. Creativity, have their own ideas, shut out the community for a bit, and just work on something that you think will sell. Something that can be fun, something that you can be proud of showing. Now, I know it's a lot harder because it's a sports game, and sports games usually just do the same thing over and over and over again. But if you really want to make a good product, you just have to put your heart and soul into it. You can take criticism later, but the idea that everything you do will have some type of negative effect, because there's always going to be that one person in the community who's like, oh, it should go back to what it was back in the day. it is kind of annoying. So to be honest with you, I don't think it's a developer's fault. I think it's more of a community thing.
2K22 be a good game?
I don't know. Listen, it's tough. I hate next gen 2K21. I absolutely hate it. I did not enjoy it at all. I didn't like the big neighborhood. I didn't like how playing park was really laggy. I didn't like playing pro-am or rec or anything like that. I didn't enjoy the game. I never had a lot of fun. I saw issues with bigger builds being able to do things. I saw issues when a lot of builds that can basically do anything and speed boost and do this and that and just do the same cheesy moves over and over and over again. So again, we don't know nothing about NBA 2K22. All we know is that they're apparently changing some gameplay aspects, changing defense again. Apparently there's going to be more like advancements to dunking and slashing, which I want to see what that means. Their new dribble moves and signature styles like they promise every year. The only thing I'm interested about is actually current gen compared to next gen. I think the current gen like neighborhood, the cruise ship sounds a lot cooler than the city that we're getting, but we'll see what happens.
2K22 should be more realistic.
Hear me out, right? I think the game can be realistic and arcadey, and I think it can be possible really easy. I think the realism in basketball should always be the movement. I think dribbling from dunking, from shooting, that should be realistic. And by realistic, I mean like forms, actual dribble moves. Now, the arcadey part of the game would be to, you know, spice it up a little bit. Maybe make players move a bit faster, crazier animations, just a more fast-paced game. I don't want a game like NBA Jam. I don't want a game like Streets or anything like that. When I played 2K19, there was a good feel about the game. I felt like my character could do whatever, and I felt like most of the time it was fair. I could run on plays. I can jump on plays. I feel like realism should be based off like an RPG kind of thing. If you have certain stats, your stats should matter compared to others. For example, if a center is being defended by, say, we'll say a 6'2 guard, and obviously the 6'2 guard isn't going to have interior defense because of those stats, it should be a lot easier for that center to baby the guard, regardless. Now, I think stats, again, matter. So if that 6'2 guard, for some reason, really does high interior defense, I think that 6'2 guard should be able to defend the center well. I think that's where the arcadey sense comes to mind. I think people want a game where good plays get rewarded. Smart plays get rewarded. I like, in previous 2Ks, that I could defend a bigger build even if I was smaller if I timed my Y, if I actually stopped them, if I actually played good defense. Because that's what should matter at the end of the day. Core gameplay should always take effect. If I'm playing good defense regardless of the build, I should be able to do well. Stats should then come secondary. If my stats are really high and they're the reason I can even do more impressive things, fine. Then I should even be better at whatever I'm doing. But without that balance, without like an RPG element almost, where you can't really decide what you're gonna do, it makes the game kind of, I don't know. I want an RPG core 2K. We'll say it like that. I want my stats to matter, and I want my core gameplay elements to matter as well.
For different parks than one big neighborhood.
All right, now hear me out on this. I think the neighborhood is a cool idea in concept. However, I also think that the neighborhood is usually too large. Like, if we want different parks, if like, again, it could be this whole cool thing. I've always thought it'd be really interesting if, yes, we have a giant neighborhood. Absolutely. One giant neighborhood. And you can explore, you could do this and that, cool. However, you should always spawn in an entrance to a quote-unquote park. And where, when you spawn into your game, you can immediately go to a park. You don't have to run to a park. You don't have to take anything to a park. You're right there in front of anything. I do think having different parks would be interesting. The reason I say this is because it's very cool to see different things when you play, especially if things are very drastic. I definitely think parks can be kind of cool looking. Like, we don't have to make every park, like, cool and realistic. Like, I'm tired of the idea of, yeah, let's go to New York City, let's go to Venice Beach or something. Like, we can make the parks really cool. Like, have an aquarium park where you're, like, playing underwater or something. Have a park like in a theme park, like roller coasters and stuff all around. Like we can try new things for parks. These are the things that can be fun and imaginative, more arcadey gameplay styles. This could be where people can go to have casual fun. Now, if we have the neighborhood, we can also do cool things in the neighborhood. The NPC idea for Next Gen wasn't bad. I actually did like the idea of getting quests and stuff. It did feel kind of like an RPG. However, if you're going to make a city and you're going to make it large, we do need different forms of transportation, regardless of what it is. If 2K wants to do the whole Grand Theft Auto open world thing, cool, but there needs to be ways to get around the city faster. Whether if you want to do like an instant teleport kind of train thing, vehicles that actually depend on speed and change, that would be really cool. Or maybe just its own little thing where the neighborhood is just for shops and stuff like that.
Like Ronnie 2K.
We can skip that. It's just a stupid question.
Do you like next gen?
No, I absolutely hate Next Gen 2K. I think Next Gen 2K literally is 2K18. I feel like people who defend the game are the same type of people who make the builds that are the problem with the game and will be like, well, that's just what the game is. That is an excuse people make to defend a bad game. If we're making a game with multiple archetypes, multiple builds, different ideas, there cannot be a system and where no other build can succeed. Meta is fine. There's always going to be meta in competitive play. However, when the meta is so dominant that even casual players have to make these types of builds to have casual fun, it gets annoying. You can search up a lot of build videos on 2K and you will find the same, almost identical type of builds for every type of position. There's no longer a game like it was back then where you can see different crazy builds and not know where they are. I used to play with two-way shot creators or two-way slashing playmakers, a lockdown defender, a 3-and-D. Like, there were all these positions, and now you just see the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Same glass lock, same, like, all-around shooting, slashing build. It's boring. The idea of archetypes was cool. The idea that everyone can do something and have a bland weakness is great. It gives balance to the game, and it gives a reason to keep playing. If I'm a pure slasher and I can only score inside, you should try to stop me from getting to the basket. That means I'm more athletic, I should be faster, and I should be stronger. The way to stop me is to try to cut me off from getting to the basket. Playing D and where I can't get there and leading me to pass off the ball. If you're someone who's really good at shooting and playmaking, your defense should be a problem. You shouldn't be a super great defender. Mind you, if you have IQ, get it, but your stats shouldn't reflect that at all. I miss weaknesses to builds, and I miss strengths to builds. That's what makes the game fun. That's what made it more RPG-ish, and it made the game playable a lot. You can always get fresh new matchups. Now it's playing the same thing, doing the same thing over and over again. Yeah, the first video of Season of Sadness is coming out. Thanks for watching. Penny out.